Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I was just watching Officer Tatum channel and I decided that I'm just gonna react to this and give my comments on what he's talking about and what the view's talking about. So here we go.
The Trump administration is proposing to give $5,000 incentive credit, cash money to people to incentivize people to have more children. So what does that mean? In this program, the more children you have, you'll get $5,000 bonus to have those children.
Trump isn't just filling up the White House with beautiful flags. He wants to fill the country with beautiful babies. Not personally, but he's chewing on a new idea. Baby bonuses for new moms. You get $5,000 when you deliver a newborn.
Mr. President, there are reports that you're considering doing something for moms across the country, giving them some kind of bonus so that they have child. Are you considering that? Or?
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Trump's trying to pump up our birth rates. It's in dire straits. We're at 1.6 births per woman, but need to be at around 2.1 to keep the country alive.
Now, I have my opinions about this, but I tell you what, I could not believe, and maybe I could believe, I don't know. The View had the worst take ever. I don't know why every time Donald Trump does something, they have to come out and oppose it. Now, my opposition to this is that it should only be for married couples. You can't get no bonus, no incentive if you just having kids out of wedlock, because that's not the best way to raise children, and we don't need to incentivize people to be doing that. Somebody want to get a Gucci bag.
So, with this take, I do agree. I do believe and agree that they should incentivize married couples to have kids. As he said, that is the best way to raise a kid to be a productive member of society, compared to whether if you have a kid that is raised by a single mom. I have friends that are raised by single moms. I have sisters that are single mothers. And I have sisters that are in marriage with kids. And when I compare my nieces and nephews that are raised with just their mom to the kids that are raised with mommy and daddy, the one that is raised with mommy and daddy is a well-rounded kid. They listen to authority. They do well in school. They don't have any. They have less depression, because kids are gonna get depressed based on stuff that happens in their life and in schools. But the ones that are raised with mommy and daddy bounce back from depression and anxiety a lot faster and quicker than the one that is just raised by a mommy. So I do agree with them.
So they gonna go have a baby to get a $5,000 check to get a Gucci bag. What we should do is incentivize marital relationships, or people who are married to have more children. I'm a lockstep with that. But there's two components here that I want to talk.
So to add to that, what I want to say is they should take away the incentives as well from those social incentive that has been around for ages, from single people with kids, and give it to married couples with kids. And I'm not saying just a blanket across the board, is who needs it. I would say for like the $5,000 incentive, blanket across the board to married couples who have kids. But for like the social things that they have currently, the tax write-off, the ability to get into government housing, and to send your kids to pre-K, make that a married couple thing. You have to be married to enjoy the bulk of those benefits. And this is a personal story that I have, where I remember the first time I dated somebody that was an American, I had to run away from that relationship because I started talking to this girl for 2 weeks. And the second week, she said, let's get a kid. Let's have a kid. Let's have a kid so that we could get a house, so that I could get a house, basically. I, as in the girl. The girl wanted to have a house where she could move out of her parents' house. So she wanted to have a kid so that she could move out, so that she could have tax income from the government. And she told me that that's what her family did. That's what her family and friends did. And when you look at her family, all her families was women, and all the women of age had kids. Now, fast forward a year later, 2 years later. Fast forward 2 years later, I was walking in Walmart, and who did I see with a 1-year-old son? A 1-year-old kid is that same girl that told me that she wanted a kid 2 weeks after we started talking. She had a house, she had a car, and when she was in Walmart, her grocery cart was full to the brim with junk food that she got from using her food stamp card that she got from the government. So I do agree that the government needs to stop that. And she was a big girl. So I think that the government should take away some of those things from single people that has no kids. From single people that have kids outside of wedlock. And I could even go on and say that I understand that kids and people make stupid mistakes, that they may have kids outside of wedlock, maybe one kid outside of wedlock. But once you get onto the government program, if you do have kids outside of wedlock, if you have any more kids while on any government program, the government should automatically take you off that program. Because if you already needed assistance from the government while only having one child, there's no reason for you to be so financially ill-equipped and have another kid where you have to depend on the government even more. So I do think that the government to do some reform when it comes to stuff like that.
You guys about today. And one is what Elon Musk said, which I think is appropriate to diagnose, which could be why the administration is trying this, because there is a dire need for population growth in the United States for a myriad of different reasons. The second thing is, and I want to talk about, is the View's take on it, that this is racist and it's just about white people trying to grow the right white population, and that what does $5,000 do for me? We'll get to it. Let's start with Elon Musk real quick. I want to play a clip or a few clips from him and what he had to say about it. Roll the clip.
Well, there's a lot of things that I suppose that I worry about, but and some of these things will seem esoteric to people. The birth rate is very low in almost every country, and it's something, unless that changes, civilization will disappear. America had the lowest birth rate, I believe, ever. That was last year. Places like Korea, the birth rate is 1/3 replacement rate. So that means in 3 generations, Korea will be 3 or 4% of its current size, and nothing seems to be turning that around. Humanity is dying. And people, it's just not something we evolved to react to.
I will say I don't agree with Elon Musk's take on saying that humanity is dying. I don't believe that humanity is dying, but I do believe that the birth rate of a lot of countries are declining because of what feminism told women about being a parent. Feminism was pushed to women, especially women in my generation and the generation below me, is that it is a bad thing or a negative thing to have kids and be a mother within a marriage, in the confines of marriage. So with that, the birth rate decline, with women pushing and being more career oriented, the birth rate has declined. And not only that, but the quality of kids that are being born. More kids are being born with a lot of birth defects now because mothers are having kids at an older age. So kids are coming out the womb with a lot of birth defects. I do believe that there should be incentives for women and couples to have kids at a younger age. So that's my take.
And I worry generally about the strength of America. America is the central column that holds up all of Western civilization. So if we've got the temple of Western civilization, America is the central column. If that column fails, it's all over. You can't run off to New Zealand or some other place. It's over. So either we strengthen that column and make sure America is strong and will be strong for a long time, or that risk's coming down.
Which, after watching his clips, and you guys can see it, I don't think that there's anything nefarious about what he's saying. People may disagree, but I do think that we need to be managing population growth and control. And when I say managing, meaning that we need to keep up with the birth rate, because we're going to get in a dire situation we're not going to be able to get out of. Now let's go to The View. The women that I've been waiting to talk about today is The View. Whoopi Goldberg and the rest of them are absolutely nutty. They cannot help themselves but be derogatory against Donald Trump. And the one girl on there, I call her the wasted face. She's the only Republican on the show. She had made mention if Biden had done this, they would all be cheering and saying it's the greatest thing ever. Let's watch this together. Roll the clip.
So as birth rates continue to decline in America, the White House is looking into offering $5,000 cash bonuses, expanded access to IVF, along with other incentives for women to have more babies. Why? And, okay.
Today we've got one of our big...
I am incredibly insulted by this because clearly they don't know how women's bodies work and they don't know what it costs to raise a child or just have a child.
Whoopi, hold on. I got to stop her real quick. Who don't know how much it costs to raise children? Who don't know? Donald Trump got tons of kids. Donald Trump got grandkids. Donald Trump don't know how much it costs to raise children? Elon Musk, he dishing millions out to raise all them kids he be having out of wedlock. Who are you saying don't know what it takes to have children or the cost of it? I almost think that every single person in the administration has children. J.D. Vance has children. Donald Trump has children. Let's go down the list. Who else you want to go to? The press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, she has a child. I mean, go down the list, y'all. Almost everybody that works in the Trump administration has children.
I will say this administration is an administration about family. Because as he said, a lot of the people that is up front within this administration have kids, have grandkids. So, if anything, they're the one that is supposed to know the cost of having kids and raising kids and what it takes to raise productive kids in the society that we're living in.
Well, who don't know what it costs? Let her finish.
And $5,000? I don't know what $5,000 is supposed to do. And it's not even $5,000 because you have to cut it in half because you got to pay taxes on it. Yeah. So they're offering you $2,500 to have a baby. Now, don't forget about all the stuff they've cut.
Yeah.
That you need. Yes, you have a list. Yep. So I'm supposed to say to you all, and are you ready for this?
Yeah.
So, for people who will be getting that $5,000, that is a lot for people that don't have any money or have low income. Right now, if I'm having a child, $5,000 is a lot. At least I could pay for a lot of the stuff that I'm not gonna need initially to get my kid going, to buy diapers, to buy the crib, to buy a stroller, and get my kids going. I don't need to buy anything expensive. I don't need to buy anything too ridiculous. Because I just need to buy the basic, and then I could start from there. And let's say I don't even use that $5,000 to buy clothes for the baby or food for the baby or diaper. Let's say I take that $5,000 and I put it in a high interest bank account from the day my baby and the birth date of my baby, of my child. Over time, within an 18-year span, that would add up to a lot of money so that I could present it to my kid or my child or my children when they become an adult at the age of 18. And that would be, they will be able to use that money to either go to college or to start a business at 18 that they would otherwise not be able to do. So it's not about the money, is how you use it or how you spend it, decide whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing for you and your family. But personally, I don't think getting any amount of money is a bad thing. Because whatever you get, you're saving in your own pocket.
What do you think of this proposal?
Listen, I don't know what, like I said, I always say, I don't know what meth or crack she's smoking today. But the last time I checked, when you have a child, you should be able to take care of your child. You don't have children just to boost the population. What it is an incentive. That means that you get like some type of a bonus or some extra money just for doing it. You have to be able to take care of your own babies. The government ain't saying we're going to take care of your child to all the way to they get to 18 years old. Because obviously the government don't have the money, they don't have the resources, and the cost to doing that is pretty significant. Let's look it up real quick because I have this written down of the cost of what it takes to raise a child. We're going to talk about that real quick because these cackling hens, I'm not going to let them just get away with just saying the stupidest things on planet Earth. This bonus is not to take care of your children. This bonus is just to say, here's something extra because you decide to have a kid. $5,000, if you invest it and you do it the right way, it can turn into something. So let's go to the stats real quick so you guys know how much it costs to raise children and all of the above. And shout out to Jordan, who did the research on this. She's my researcher. Let's go to the household thing. So estimate of raising a child from birth to 18 years old is about $280,000 to $312,000. So it's not for the faint at heart, right? If you ain't planning on spending a large majority or a portion of your income to take care of children, you shouldn't have kids. I'm just letting you know they're expensive. But let me just give you an example of the worth of your child. It's worth way more than the $300,000 that you have to spend over 18 years. Do you understand you're creating the next generation of human beings that's going to innovate and create trillions of dollars of revenue in this country? So it's worth a little $300,000 investment for you to be able to continue your legacy and all of the above. I'll get done with that here in a second. So majority of the cost is going to be housing. The second is obviously food. Third is childcare and education. Now, I'm going to get back to the clip, but I just got to talk about the childcare and education. People have put themselves in a deficit when it comes to housing and childcare and education because you don't need to send your kids to school. You don't need for both people to be working on a job. You guys will save tremendous amounts of money if you just scale back a little bit, stay in a reasonable place. You don't have to stay in a big old nice house with a picket fence on an acre lot. You ain't got to do none of that. You can stay in a reasonable place. It's just a place where you can go and go to sleep. You probably watch TV in one or two of the rooms. You don't need to have a mansion. If you want to save money and adequately take care of your children and cut costs that are unnecessary, the foods that you buy. But let's get back to the childcare thing. What people are doing, which is asinine to me, they go out, both parents work, and one of the two parents is working on a job that's not paying them enough to even cover childcare, or just barely a little bit more than childcare. When you will benefit so much more if you stayed at home and you raised your child yourself, you taught the child can travel with you, they can learn over time, they'll be smarter, and it'll cost you less. And you got to worry about beating your kids over the head while you're working on a job that's not going to yield you anything. I'm just being honest. Some of y'all could just work a little bit part-time and not have your kid in childcare. Now, y'all, here's the part where it gets crazy. Here's the part where you go from talking about the fact that Donald Trump isn't sufficient and what they're proposing to it's about race. Listen to Sunny Holmes and Cyrus Self. Roll the clip.
When I look at something like this, these proposals, I want to know why, and I want to know who's making them. And so when I looked into that, they're saying that the U.S. birth rate is declining. However, in 2024, there was a 1% increase in U.S. births, but that increase was with Hispanic mothers and Asian mothers. So they don't seem to be concerned about that increase. They seem to be more concerned about a decrease in other populations.
Say it.
No, I think I've said enough.
It's not based on that.
And so, well, it's just based on a study. And so the other thing,
but they said that anywhere? I mean, I feel like it'd be fair.
It's just fair to hope.
Just real quick, I just did a calculation where the $5,000 is put in an account that gives you a 9% on that $5,000 every year for the next 18 years. At the end of the 18 years, you're going to have $98,100. I know I didn't say that properly, but that's what you'll get. $98,100. If you could give your kid that at 18 to do whatever they want to do with it, pertaining to education or starting a business, their family, your future generations will start off in a better footing, and they could build upon that. If I got that from my parents when I was 18, I would have either went to college or I'd have been I would have established a good business right now, where from 18 to 30 would provide my family now better foothold to where my now kids or future kids wouldn't be in the same position that my dad was in or that I was in when I was a kid.
It's just
Have they said that this is to target only white families?
Oh, I didn't say that.
You have to read between the lines.
I just gave the
I'm not
stats.
gonna say
It's
it.
about economics. They're wanting people to pay in.
I'm just giving facts. And so also, when I think about who's advocating, Project 2025, remember that, which was tied to the Heritage Foundation, the think tank that led Project 2025. They open up the Project 2025 before anything else talking about family issues. The first chapter promises to restore the family as a centerpiece of American life, and the Heritage Foundation in particular has been researching this issue for over 2 years and is preparing to release a report in the coming weeks on how it believes the administration should counter declining birth rates. So I just leave that with all of you.
They're global
because I
declining
think,
birth rates.
yeah, but I think when we're talking about the United States, we need to think about the who's proposing it and why.
Now, somebody explain to me how it has anything to do with race. Sonny Holston herself made mention that the population growth has only been amongst Hispanics and Asians. So that means that the people who aren't growing, the people who are incentivized to grow, is obviously going to be black people. White people didn't grow, black people didn't grow. So if he's incentivizing anybody, the groups that did not grow year over year are the groups that he's incentivizing, which includes black folks. Somebody explain to me how you got a problem with Donald Trump when he just want black women to have more children and be able to help them to a certain degree and give them a bonus or incentivize them to have children. How is that a problem? They always got to make it out to be a problem. But like I said at the very beginning of the show, what I will say is that Donald Trump needs to not do this for unwedded women. It should only be for women who, because he's not giving you money because you have kids. That's a different argument. He's giving you money to have more children. So what that means that you don't need to incentivize a single mother who don't have a baby daddy in the house or don't have a man at the house to have more children. They don't need to have more children. They need to figure out their relationship status. They need to figure out their financial stuff before they engage with more children being brought into the world. But people who are married, people who are responsible, and I say the responsibility, at least if you're married, you're on the right track. Those should be the families that you incentivize to have more children. That's what I will say. Therefore, you'll cut down on the tremendous amount of money spent. You could probably give $10,000 per kid if you mitigate it to only married couples. And this is not something that's new. They've done this in many other countries, in Germany, and we can go down a list. I got a list of them, but I don't feel like wasting your time with explaining every single country. But this is not new. There's incentivized birth rates in other countries, and this is just something that the White House is thinking about implementing, which I think would be an incredible idea, but only to people who are married. Please, Donald Trump, if you hear me, this should be only to people who are married. Do not incentivize people having children